The human colony ship drifted helplessly in space, its hull breached, life support failing. 10,000 defenseless civilians trapped like fish in a barrel. For the Valkyrie hegemony, it should have been the easiest conquest in their 2-century reign of terror. That was 200 years ago. Today, the Valkyrie hegemony no longer exists. The holographic display flickered to life in the center of the Galactic Council's chambers, casting pale blue light across the assembled delegates. Ambassador Keltar's reptilian features remained impassive as he gestured toward the rotating star map, his scaled finger pointing to an unremarkable yellow star on the outer rim. Gentle beings, his voice carried the measured tone of someone accustomed to delivering dry statistical reports. We have an anomaly. Admiral Throck's massive frame shifted in his reinforced seat, armor plates grinding against each other. Get to the point, Saurian. Some of us have actual wars to fight. Counselor Vexha's translucent form shimmered with curiosity, her ethereal voice carrying across the chamber like wind chimes. Please, continue, Ambassador. Anomalies in galactic patterns are fascinating. Keltar's inner eyelids blinked, a sign of mild irritation that only his species would recognize. 53 years ago, we made first contact with a species calling themselves humans from the third planet of this system. The display zoomed in on Earth, showing a blue-green world that looked deceptively peaceful. Initial contact reports classified them as a Class C civilization with minimal defensive capabilities. Soft skins, Throck grunted dismissively. No natural armor, no claws, no venom. Pathetically slow reflexes. I've seen the reports. They can barely survive on their own world without artificial assistance. Precisely, Admiral, which brings us to our anomaly. Keltar's claws clicked against his datapad. According to our galactic database, there are 47 documented aggressive species within a 50-parsec radius of human space. The predictive models suggest Earth should have been conquered, enslaved, or stripped of resources within the first decade of achieving interstellar capability. Vexha's form pulsed with intrigue. But it hasn't been. Correct. Not only has Earth remained unconquered, but our monitoring stations report something even more peculiar. The display shifted to show trade route data, shipping manifests, and territorial maps. Several known aggressive species actively avoid human space entirely. The Bloodclaw pirates, who raid anything that moves, have explicit no-contact protocols for human vessels. The Karna slave traders refuse contracts involving human worlds. Admiral Throck leaned forward, his small eyes narrowing. Fear can make even predators cautious. Fear of what, Admiral? Keltar's head tilted in that distinctly reptilian way. Humans have no significant military fleet. Their weapons technology is centuries behind most spacefaring species. Their reaction times are abysmal, their physical strength laughable, and their endurance. He paused to check his notes, rated as adequate for survival on Death World Origin. The chamber fell silent except for the gentle hum of the station's life support systems. The implications hung in the air like a puzzle, missing crucial pieces. There's more, Keltar continued. Insurance companies throughout the sector offer reduced premiums for cargo ships with human escorts. Mercenary guilds have unofficial policies against accepting contracts targeting human interests. And perhaps most telling, in the past 50 years, not one of the aggressive species in their vicinity has attempted territorial expansion into human space. Counselor Vexha's form flickered with excitement. It defies all established patterns of galactic conquest and territorial behavior. Exactly. Keltar deactivated the display. Either we're missing something fundamental about human capabilities, or we're witnessing the most effective defensive strategy in galactic history, one that doesn't appear to involve any actual defense. Admiral Throck's laugh was a harsh bark. Or these humans have powerful allies we haven't identified. Our deep space monitoring has detected no such alliances, Keltar replied. They trade freely, engage in standard diplomatic relations, but maintain no mutual defense pacts or military treaties. The silence stretched again, heavier this time. Vexha was the first to speak. I propose we investigate this anomaly thoroughly. Understanding how a defenseless species maintains such security could provide valuable insights for galactic stability. Agreed, Keltar nodded. But we proceed carefully. Whatever the humans are hiding, 47 aggressive species have decided it's not worth discovering. Admiral Throck's armored fist struck his armrest. Then we'll succeed where they were too cowardly to try. Neither Keltar nor Vexa corrected him, but both wondered, what if those species weren't cowardly at all? What if they were smart? 3 weeks later, intelligence operative Zixal crouched in the shadows of Freight Station Omega 7, her compound eyes tracking the bustling activity of the neutral port. Her chitinous exoskeleton blended seamlessly with the metallic infrastructure as she recorded every conversation, every transaction, every nervous glance exchanged in the dingy cantinas that line the station's lower levels. Another round for the table. Captain Mordunn's gruff voice carried across the smoky bar as he bought drinks for a group of freelance cargo haulers. The veteran warrior had traded his military insignia for civilian clothes, but his scarred hide still told stories of 100 battles. Say, any of you boys run routes through the Sol sector? The laughter died instantly. The Tellurian pilot, a scarred veteran himself, shook his head so quickly his drink sloshed. Not for all the credits in the core worlds, friend. Come now, Mordun pressed, affecting casual curiosity. Human space pays well for freight services. Easy targets, from what I hear. Easy targets. The pilot's voice cracked. You obviously haven't talked to Krex the Bloodletter recently. Oh wait, you can't. Nobody can. His entire fleet tried to raid a human mining colony about 10 years back. He leaned in, voice dropping to a whisper. Found their ships 3 months later, drifting in deep space. Every single crew member gone. From her perch, Zixal adjusted her recording equipment. This was the 7th similar account she documented. Meanwhile, across the station, Captain Mordun was having better luck extracting information from a group of Nexru smugglers. The amphibious aliens were 3 drinks past cautious and eager to share war stories. Told us it was just a human passenger transport, the lead smuggler was saying, his throat sack inflating with agitation. 12 defenseless civilians on a pleasure cruise. Should have been the easiest boarding in sector history. Should have been, his companion agreed, tentacles writhing nervously. Instead, we lost half our crew before we even made it to their cargo bay. Those defenseless civilians moved like... He struggled for words, like death itself had taken form. That's impossible, Mordun said carefully. Humans are slow, weak. Tell that to my crew. The smuggler snapped. I've raided military vessels with less resistance. There's something wrong with those creatures. They fight like they've got nothing to lose and everything to prove. Zixal's mandibles clicked in confusion. The physiological scans didn't lie. Humans were objectively inferior in every measurable combat category. Yet every account painted them as terrifyingly effective fighters. Her investigation deepened over the following days. In the rim markets, she discovered that insurance premiums actually decreased for cargo vessels carrying human passengers. The underwriter's explanation was simple. Claims involving human-protected shipments are statistically negligible. The pattern was everywhere once she knew to look for it. The Crimson Fong Pirate Syndicate, notorious for raiding anything with a power signature, had a standing order posted in their recruitment halls. No operations within 50 parsecs of human colonies. Violation punishable by spacing. Captain Mordun's own inquiries yielded similar results. Black market weapons dealers refused to sell to anyone planning operations against human targets. Mercenary guilds maintained unofficial blacklists for contracts involving human interests. Even slave traders, beings with no moral compass whatsoever, spoke of humans in hushed, fearful tones. It's like the entire criminal underworld has collectively decided the humans are off limits, Mordun reported during their nightly communication. But when I ask why, I get the same response. Vague warnings about the Deathworlders and stories that sound like ghost tales. Zixal processed the data, her analytical mind struggling with the contradictions. Every measurement said humans were prey species. Every behavior suggested they were apex predators. There's something we're not seeing, she transmitted back. Something that 47 aggressive species learned the hard way. As if to punctuate her point, a nearby conversation caught her attention. 2 Korthak raiders, beings that regularly enslaved entire star systems, were discussing territorial boundaries. Stay clear of the yellow star systems. The larger one was saying. That's where the humans nest. But they're so weak, his companion protested. The scanning reports. Forget the scanning reports. The first raider's voice carried an undertone Zixal had never heard from a species before. Genuine fear. You don't poke sleeping nightmares, no matter how harmless they look. The pieces of a terrifying puzzle were beginning to emerge. The ancient archives of Nexus Prime stretched deep into the station's core, their crystalline storage matrices humming with the preserved knowledge of 10,000 civilizations. Chief Archivist Kelnoth's 6 eyes studied the data request with growing unease, his ancient carapace creaking as he shifted weight between his many legs. You're asking for classified records. His voice wheezed through vocal slits that had witnessed the rise and fall of empires. Files that were deliberately purged from standard databases. Zixal's compound eyes fixed on him with mechanical precision. We have council authorization. We need everything. Combat reports, final transmissions, archaeological surveys of dead worlds. The old archivist's mandibles clicked nervously. I've been keeper of these archives for 4 centuries. Some knowledge should stay buried. But orders were orders. With trembling appendages, Kelnoth activated the deepest storage vaults. The first file materialized as a 3-dimensional hologram, the Velcari hegemony, a militaristic empire that had enslaved 63 star systems across 2 centuries. Their war machines had been legendary, planet crackers that could split worlds, bioweapons that consumed entire ecosystems, fleets numbering in the tens of thousands. 217 years ago, Kelnoth's voice carried the weight of terrible memory. The Velcari encountered a human colony ship, a single vessel carrying 10,000 civilians to establish a farming settlement. The hologram shifted, showing the colony ship, unarmed, slow, completely defenseless. Records showed the Velcari had captured it, enslaved the humans, and sold them throughout their empire as curiosities from a new species. Standard practice for them. Captain Mordun noted grimly. What happened next? Kelnoth manipulated the controls, fast-forwarding through decades of data. For 50 years, nothing unusual. The Velcari continued their expansion. Then, the display flickered to show a timeline. Velcari worlds began going dark. One by one, systematically. Agricultural worlds first, the archivist explained, his voice barely above a whisper. Their food production centers were sterilized. Not destroyed, sterilized. Nothing could grow there for generations. The hologram showed orbital bombardments unlike anything in galactic records. Not the crude planet crackers used by most species, but precise, calculated destruction that left worlds uninhabitable yet structurally intact. Then their industrial centers. Manufacturing ceased. Supply lines collapsed. More worlds winked out on the display. Their military responded by mobilizing their entire fleet, 47,000 warships, the largest armada in recorded galactic history. And Zixal demanded, gone. Every ship, every crew member. Found drifting in deep space 3 months later, crews missing, hulls intact but scrubbed clean of life. Kelnoth's eyes darted nervously around the archive. The final Velcari transmission was disturbing. He activated an audio file. The voice was high-pitched, panicked, speaking in the guttural Velcari tongue. They're not stopping. We surrendered. We freed their people. Why won't they stop? Static. Then, they don't fight like soldiers. They fight like something that knows it's already dead. The silence in the archive was deafening. Complete extinction, Kelnoth continued. 63 star systems. Trillions of beings. Gone within 50 years of enslaving 10,000 humans. Mordun's scar hide had gone pale. Surely this was coincidence. File 2. The archivist interrupted, calling up another hologram. The Zektai Dominion. Attempted to raid human merchant vessels 47 years later. Same pattern. Systematic extinction. File 3. The Korthak Raider clans. Another hologram. Another dead civilization. File 4. The Nexari Syndicate. Each file told the same horrifying story. Aggressive species encountered humans. Aggressive species attacked humans. Aggressive species ceased to exist. 4 separate civilizations. Zixal's voice modulator crackled with disbelief. each extinct within 50 years of hostile contact with humans. Archaeological evidence suggests human involvement, Kelnoth added reluctantly, but never direct conquest. They don't colonize the dead worlds, don't claim territory. They just remove threats. The final horror crystallized as more Duns studied the galactic map. Every extinct civilization shared one trait. They had chosen to prey upon what they perceived as defenseless humans. It's not defense, he whispered. It's pest control. Kelnoth's ancient eyes fixed on them with the weight of terrible understanding. The humans don't appear weak because they can't fight. They appear weak because they're patient. They let aggressive species reveal their true nature by attacking the defenseless. And then those species learn that humanity's definition of proportionate response is very different from everyone else's. The archive fell silent except for the hum of crystalline memory cores, each one containing the final moments of civilizations that had made the fatal mistake of mistaking human mercy for human weakness. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in absolute silence. Every delegate stared at the central podium where Ambassador Sarah Johnson stood, her hands clasped behind her back, a pleasant smile on her unremarkable human features. She looked exactly like what she was supposed to be, harmless. Ambassador Keltar's claws trembled as he activated his voice amplifier. Ambassador Johnson, we've discovered certain historical patterns regarding human-alien interactions. Oh, Sarah's eyebrows rose with what appeared to be genuine curiosity. What kind of patterns? The temperature in the chamber seemed to drop several degrees despite the life support, maintaining perfect atmospheric conditions. Admiral Throck leaned forward, his massive frame making his seat creak ominously. 4 civilizations. The Velkari, the Zektai, the Korthak, the Nexari. All extinct. All after hostile contact with your species. Sarah nodded pleasantly. Yes, I'm familiar with those cases. Tragic, really. Though I should point out they weren't exactly civilizations by the end. More like galactic hazards that needed addressing. Counselor Vexha's ethereal form flickered with barely controlled fear. Needed addressing? Well, of course. Sarah's tone remained conversational, as if discussing the weather. You see, we learned something important about ourselves very early in our development. We're not naturally aggressive. We actually prefer peace, trade, cooperation. But we discovered that appearing strong invites constant challenges. Everyone wants to test themselves against the apex predator. She gestured to the assembled delegates with the same pleasant smile. So we chose to appear weak instead. Harmless. Defenseless, even. It's much more efficient. Efficient. Keltar's voice cracked. Oh yes. You see, any species aggressive enough to attack truly defenseless neighbors has revealed something crucial about their nature. They can't coexist peacefully with others. They're essentially a cancer in the galactic community. Sarah's smile never wavered, but something shifted behind her eyes. And cancer needs to be removed completely, or it spreads. The chamber's silence was broken only by the nervous shifting of delegates and the faint hum of recording equipment. When someone attacks the helpless, Sarah continued, they've shown us exactly who they are. Not a species that got desperate, or made a mistake, or acted in self-defense. They're predators who consume the innocent. And predators, her voice remained perfectly level, perfectly calm, need to be eliminated entirely. Admiral Throck's armor plates rattled as he fought to control his breathing. You're talking about genocide. Oh no, Admiral. Sarah's laugh was genuinely amused. Genocide is what the Velkari did to 63 worlds before they met us. What we do is pest control. Very thorough pest control. Counselor Vexha's form was now flickering rapidly with terror. But the scale of it, entire civilizations, would still be enslaving, murdering, and consuming innocent beings if we hadn't intervened. Sarah's expression finally shifted, becoming something that made every being in the chamber wish they were elsewhere. We don't conquer because we don't need territory. We don't negotiate because there's nothing to discuss. We simply ensure that species capable of attacking the defenseless don't get the chance to do it again. The horrible logic was inescapable, elegant, terrifying. Earth isn't a world, Keltar whispered, the pieces finally falling into place. It's bait. Earth is a test, Sarah corrected gently. A very simple one. Can you coexist peacefully with neighbors who can't defend themselves? Most species pass easily. They trade with us, cooperate, build relationships. Her smile returned, bright and terrible. A few failed the test rather spectacularly. Admiral Throck managed to find his voice. And if the Council were to take aggressive action against human space? Sarah's smile widened. Admiral, you represent thousands of worlds and trillions of beings. We would consider that a much larger threat than a single raider clan. She paused thoughtfully. The response would be proportionally thorough. The silence stretched until Counselor Vexhaus spoke in a voice barely above a whisper. Motion to immediately classify all human space as protected territory. No military operations, no aggressive expansion, no hostile contact of any kind. Seconded, Keltar said instantly. Carried unanimously. Admiral Throck added, his warrior's pride finally overcome by basic survival instinct. Sarah Johnson clasped her hands together, looking genuinely pleased. Wonderful. I'm so glad we could reach this understanding. Earth always enjoys peaceful relationships with our galactic neighbors. As she turned to leave, her final words drifted back to the terrified Council. After all, we only eliminate species that prove they can't coexist with the defenseless. Everyone else gets to keep existing. The chamber remained silent long after she left, each delegate finally understanding why 47 aggressive species had chosen to avoid human space entirely. They weren't cowards. They were smart enough to recognize a perfectly baited trap when they saw one.